All right, let's go to our next Pac-12 game here, Fresh. This is our second game this week that we're looking at, and this one may have the biggest implications on the Pac-12 landscape. The Washington Huskies, they're sitting at 8-0, 5-0 in the conference. They are traveling to La La Land to face the USC Trojans. Man, I'm excited for this one, Fresh, because we're gonna find out a lot about the Huskies here. At time of record, Washington is a 3.5 point road favorite. Over under is set at 76 points. That is a lot of points there. I might be willing to take the under in that, but who knows? This may be a 55, 56 type of game. So, Fresh, I'll turn it over to you. What you got for me for USC Washington?
Well, I think start off with, in the best case for the Pac-12, they need Washington to win and win out. It just I could see the Pac-12 cannibalizing each other because there's so many good teams beating up on each other and actually keeping the conference again from making the playoffs just because Washington might have one or two losses, Oregon might lose later down the road. You just never know how it's going to shake out because there's so many all those ranked heavy matchups we're looking forward to coming down here in November. So a lot of things are going to happen, and you just kind of have a bad feeling that they're going to ruin themselves a chance just going to beat up on each other. You look at the Huskies have USC, Utah, Oregon State, Wazoo. And if somehow they're undefeated, they get Oregon potentially in a rematch, and Oregon's not going to be happy. It could be bad. So I think the Pac-12, even though they are kind of breaking up, they're kind of hoping that the Huskies just sort of make it through unscathed. Other things happen in the college football landscape, and they get in make that 4 seed or that 3 seed into the playoff. But this is a big game for them because they have a huge stretch run where they're really going to start getting tested week in and week out. Now, there's a reason why the total is so extremely high. And that's because USC's defense is absolutely atrocious. They are allowing 420.9 total yards a game. That's 9th in the Pac-12. It's 9th in the Pac-12, so you got to imagine how bad it is nationally. They're allowing 248.8 passing yards a game. That's 7th in the Pac-12. They're allowing 172.1 rushing yards a game. That's dead bleeping last in the Pac-12. The only bright spot is that they have a pass rush, and they have 23 sacks so far, which is actually 5th in the conference. So they're getting after the quarterback. They just can't stop anybody. It's horrible. You beat Cal 50-49. The Cal Bears, you beat 50-49. You've gotten smoked by already. Had a shootout versus Colorado. Can someone at USC's defense make a play? The only way you're going to survive is even a tip pass right now would be a huge win for the Trojans defense. It's embarrassing. Someone actually kind of joked with Ferentz basically resigning today at Iowa, that a college team should hire Alex Grinch to be the DC and Ferentz to be the OC. They will lose every game 100-0. If they allow Penix Jr. and that triumvirate of amazing receivers for the Huskies to get going in this ball game, it could be good night Irene in a heartbeat. But I think what really Washington should really do is help boost up that running game, take advantage of that terrible run defense, and help balance out the offense. Because if the weather gets worse, you're going to need that kind of balanced offensive approach to help get the running game, maybe run a game out, maybe kill some of the clock in the second half at a playoff, or a conference championship game or a playoff. You're going to need that running game complement to really work through it. So take advantage of this terrible run defense. Try to find some balance in that offense to help out Penix Jr., keep from getting dinged up, but find a little more of a balance there in that offense. The only reason why the over-under is severely in danger is these two quarterbacks are number 1 and number 2 in passing yards in the nation. Penix Jr., 29.45, Caleb Williams, 26.46. It's just going to be offense galore everywhere you look. I could see them hitting the over by the end of the third quarter at this point. That's how bad. The Huskies defense isn't that great either, but USC's defense is terrible. Both quarterbacks throwing it all over the place. Huskies offense, 5th best in the country, averaging 501 yards, and they have the best passing attack at 399. So we know Penix Jr. is going to put it up there. He's in a Heisman campaign right now, but really it's between him and Jordan Travis. I think they're the number 1, number 2. This is a chance for you to have a Heisman moment, to go off in LA, everyone watching, ABC, Herb Street and Fowler in the booth. This is a chance to make a big impression. Whatever you got to do, light it up, put points up on the board, grab the attention and win the thing outright, and really supplant yourself as the lead dog. Don't leave it up for chance where Jordan Travis has a chance to put up some stats late on. Have a chance to go put up and get it done early. When I was really talking about, taking the running game, Dylan Johnson The running game for the Huskies has not really been there. It only has 430 and 6 touchdowns, and then Will Nixon's 153 and one. This is a great game to get again to get those two guys involved, get them some carries, get them some touches, have them feel in flow in the offense, and add that extra dynamic too. Because eventually you're going to start playing tougher teams. If they go against Ohio State in the playoff, or play Oregon again, or get a Michigan or a Florida State or a Georgia or an Alabama or a Texas, you're going to have a complementary offense to really sort of keep that thing going, to slow down the pass rush, maybe drain the clock in the second half. You've got to find a running game, and you're playing a horrible run defense. Use that as a chance. USC, you have to score touchdowns in every possession to stay alive in this football game. I have no faith in your defense. I don't have. They might not get a 3 and out. They might get a stop, but they will never get a 3 and out in this football game. The only way USC wins is if they get a pick six or something like that to really steal possession back and get them on the board. I don't see it happening. I see the Huskies dominating. I see them overhitting.
Wow.
We're talking maybe 85 points, and the Huskies will cover the 3, going away and stay alive, continue to remain undefeated moving forward in the season.
Fresh, it's intriguing to watch for me because I've been listening, and I've been pretty strong on the Washington bandwagon since the start of the season, and especially the Michael Penix Jr. bandwagon to start the season. And the reason was, when I went back and I looked at the 22 season, Michael Penix Jr. outplayed Caleb Williams for the majority of the season. Like, he had better numbers. Was just kind of looked like a better quarterback at times. And Caleb Williams wins the Heisman. And I said, well, they're close. It's within reason to be argued in that. And you had a lot of other stories going on in college football last year. But I felt like this was Penix Jr.'s year to win the Heisman. I thought he was almost like, as long as he sniffed the same numbers. And then something special has happened. The Pac-12 has been the best conference in all of college football. It is the toughest conference, top to bottom. They have the most amount of ranked teams. They have the most amount of teams that are battle-tested between the two of them. Like you said earlier, they're beating each other up in this conference. And the problem I have, though, is that we're still kind of being hesitant to give Washington the respect that they truly deserve. If Washington runs the table in the rest of their schedule, they should arguably be the number one team come the playoff. They're going to have as many more, or if not more, rank wins than anybody else on their resume. And again, people are going to point, like, you can find, and this is the interesting thing about 2023, is that you can find holes in every single top tier team. No matter who you are, you can take a look and go, well, this team has got this problem, or this team has got this problem. And that's the thing that kind of has been, we talked about this in our college football playoff preview show a little bit. It really boggles my mind that people aren't like, and again, it could be like this East Coast, West Coast bias type thing. We could be having like the coast wars of college football going on right now. But you're right. This is the game where you could really win over a lot of the people that do have that East Coast bias, or the Southern bias, or the Big Ten bias, or what have you. But it's got to see a little bit difference from Penix Jr. though. In the last 3 games, he hasn't completed more than 65% of his passes. We're talking about a guy who is usually a career 70% or higher completion percentage with him. He's still playing very well. 24 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He's only taken 5 sacks on the year. You think about a guy who like moves around quite a bit for him. He's not the runner that he was at Indiana. You look at, if you guys look at earlier in his career, he was this electric dual threat quarterback, and he's not that this year. He stays in the pocket, he takes some hits, and delivers the football. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I will still always believe that. And then you take a look at a guy like Caleb Williams, and you take a look at what has started to go wrong for USC in these last couple weeks. They're 2-2 in their last couple of games, but you take a look. The last 4 games, Arizona, which we really think highly of Arizona, though, 3 overtime games, 2-point win. You lose going to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame puts the boots to you. Utah wins a thriller game. And then Cal puts you into a shootout at Berkeley. And in that, you take a look at that. Caleb Williams in those 4 games has taken 17 sacks. The dude is averaging more than 4 sacks a game right now. That's an issue because those sacks have a tendency to be these drive killers and wind up like really putting USC in a bad situation. I think you're right, Fresh, with both of these teams. Both of these teams going into this game need to kind of slow down a little bit. They need to rely a little bit more on their running game. You take a look at what USC has. They have Lloyd over there, the transfer from South Carolina, Marshawn Lloyd. And then you take a look at, you talked about Dylan Johnson. He's been hot and cold. Like when he's good, he's really good. And he's looked really, really good at times. Coming off of last week, he had a touchdown, I believe like 80 plus yards in that. And then the week prior to that, he gets 8 touches and doesn't even average a yard a touch. So I think that you got to see a little bit more of the running game in both of these teams. I think you need to kind of ease the pressure off. You've put a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure on these quarterbacks. And hey, you guys are the starting quarterback at a big time university. Your shoulders need to be wide. You need to be able to handle that pressure. But especially when you get into this point in the season, you also need, as a coach, you also need to be able to take that pressure off. Me, Fresh, I'm going to say whoever is going to be able to get after the quarterback. USC, they have their offensive line not as strong in that pass protection piece. Caleb Williams is starting to run himself into a couple of sacks as well. I think that this could be a game where you could see the Washington defense pick up 2 or 3 sacks in this game. I'm going to say Washington wins this game. I'm going to say the under comes in, though. I think that they're going to run the football. I think that this game is going to slow down a little bit. Now, am I talking like we're talking a Iowa Minnesota type of game where it's 3 yards and a cloud of dust? No, we're not talking one of those type of games here, folks. What we're talking about though is we are going to see a little more balance than what we've seen. This isn't going to be these guys dropping back 40 to 50 times and chucking the ball all over the place, and the clock just is constantly being stopped with incompletions and what have you. So I'm going to say, give me Washington. I'm staying on the Washington bandwagon. I'll take Washington and the -3.5. I would actually be willing to go up to 7 in that one. I think Washington's a touchdown favorite in this game, but I would take the under on the 76. I think that I would actually feel pretty comfortable. I think it's going to come in at around, I think it's better closer to maybe like a 70. I think 76 is just too high for me. I don't think they're going to get to that point. I think someone's going to start making some plays.
So if Alex Grinch and that USC defense hold Washington to under 38 points, does he get a contract extension?
No, because you take a look at the whole body of work. They've been terrible on defense. I just think it's something to help Washington get ready for the rest of their stretch run here.
Yeah. You're going to have to be a little more physical, a little more tough. I agree with you.
Yeah.